Hello, welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation. With me, your host, Owen James, your Rangers channel, guys. We bring you all the latest information for nothing, for free. Obviously, we don't charge you for any of our content. Okay, so a new name that has entered the Rangers managerial race, or so it seems, is Danish manager, Danish head coach, former Feyenoord head coach Brian Priske, a guy who was selected by Feyenoord to succeed Arne Slot. Obviously, he went on to win the league title with Liverpool. Priske was a guy who some of you may remember from him coaching Sparta Prague, obviously meeting up with Rangers in the Europa League. That Brian Priske. So what do we know about this guy? What do we know about Priske as a manager? Well, we know that he is Danish. That's obviously a first one. He's obviously an ex-footballer too, has played for a number of teams and has had a background playing for the Danish national team. In terms of Priske himself, look, this is yet another name, isn't it? And there was rumours going around about a Scandinavian manager being in talk. This appears to be that set, a Scandinavian manager. Brian Priske Pedersen, to give him his full name. He's 48 years old. He's from Horsens in Denmark. Playing career-wise, he played for Horsens, he played for Aarhus, he played for AAB, Genk, Portsmouth in England, 30 appearances for Portsmouth in England, Club Bruges, Vey, Midtjylland and Start. Had 24 caps for the Danish national team. In terms of his managerial CV, well, he started his managerial career in 2019 with Midtjylland before going on to manage Royal Antwerp in Belgium. Then to Sparta Prague in the Czech Republic before a unsuccessful spell at Feyenoord. That's what we know so far about him. Priske, in terms of his stats, in terms of him as a manager. At Midtjylland, he managed them for 79 games, winning 46 of them, drawing 13 and losing 20. 58% win percentage, not bad on reflection. Was the Danish league, though, I suppose. Royal Antwerp, he was managed there 49 games. He won just 22 of those games. 9 draws, 18 losses in his time there. Not a great goal difference either, and a 44.9% win percentage. Sparta Prague, he was there for 96 games. Winning 63 of them, drawing 20 of them, losing 13 of them, with a plus 102 goal difference, 65.63 win percentage. But it's often to be remembered that Sparta Prague and Slavia Prague do dominate that league. He was then manager of Feyenoord. Was manager there for 33 games, 17 wins, 8 draws, 8 defeats. Plus 19 goal difference, 51.52% win percentage, which on the face of things doesn't appear too bad. A career win percentage of 57.59%, which again does not appear too bad if you're just going for raw statistics. However, what is perhaps slightly more troubling is when you look at why he was sacked by Feyenoord. What is the reasoning? Feyenoord had some impressive results, even in the Champions League under Brian Priske. However, he was sacked for inconsistencies of performances, inconsistency of team displays, inconsistency of relationships as well, apparently. That's something we'll get on to. He said when he was sacked, the Feyenoord board said there was far too little progress they saw in the team, too little structural progress in terms of the way they played, the style, the shape, etc., etc. Does that ring any bells with anyone? He was replaced by Robin van Persie as the Feyenoord manager. Certainly interesting that was the reason he was sacked. Like I said, because of some poor decisions and a lack of structural progress and a lack of structural change at the club under his leadership. To me, it sounds a little bit Philippe Clement-esque. In terms of, if you look at why Clement was sacked, looking back, yes, the results were dreadful, but also, we didn't see a lot of progress in the team. We didn't see a lot of structural progress in the team. We didn't see a lot of shape or style or formation or anything like that. To me, Priske seems a little bit like a Danish version of Philippe Clement. Not exactly an exciting candidate for the managerial job. In terms of what he achieved as a manager, he won the Danish Super League with Midtjylland in 2019-2020. He won the Czech League in 22-23 and 23-24. Also the Czech Cup in 23-24. With Feyenoord, he won the Johan Cruyff Shield, defeating PSV on penalties in 2024. But in terms of overall trophies won, not hugely successful. It's a manager that has kind of slowly entered this kind of race and this debate. And to me, I'm not massively impressed. I genuinely am not massively impressed. To me, it would seem a little bit like a sideways move, another Clement, someone else who would come in and I think would need time to obviously get to know the club. Also, I think, doesn't perhaps have that... I don't know, that personality to carry it off, doesn't have that drive, maybe doesn't have that kind of I don't think it would get. I'm not impressed with this one at all. Doing a little bit of digging round, like I said, it seems that wherever he's gone, with the exception of perhaps Sparta Prague, where obviously it's a very easy league to win, but I suppose you could argue so is Scotland to some degree. I don't think he's the sort of player, a sort of manager that would make a huge difference at the club. I think we do need somebody with, a slightly better CV, a slightly better, theory behind playing, a slightly, more ambitious way of changing things at this football club. Like I said, to me, Priske seems a little bit like a carbon copy of Philippe Clement, the Danish version of. So for me, not for me at all. I think this would be a very bad appointment if it was to be the appointment. Look, I mean, everyone's saying that this appointment's got to come sooner rather than later. And I agree. It has to come sooner rather than later. It really genuinely does. We do need to get a manager in to kind of affect change, to start to make changes. I know the season's just finished, but, the Champions League qualifiers are going to come up thick and fast, we need to start getting players in. This manager needs to have his input on that. He needs to negotiate. He needs to talk. He needs to speak to these players. He needs to have an input. I think the other candidates that are out there, Russell Martin appears to be one that is drifting. I think he doesn't appear to be as interested as perhaps we first thought. I think he's more interested in the Leicester job. Steven Gerrard obviously is another one who's been heavily linked, and Davide Ancelotti, who recently left Real Madrid, so is now out of work, leading to more rumours that he is headed for Rangers. But certainly this link to Priske is not one I am getting massively excited about. Guys, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Well, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. If you've enjoyed the content, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And remember, always, we are the people.